Greetings, citizens, Justiguy has arrived. You know, after Dragon Ball Super 97, 98, I didn't think it could get any worse. Well, then it did. See, episode 99 starts off with everybody reacting to Universe 9's destruction. Okay, fine, whatever. And then it kept being about that. Like, just about half the episode, in fact, was about, well, that. Then that's kind of it. Which is fine. If that's important, if that's something that matters, I can appreciate that. That's cool with me if that's what they want to spend their time on and have a real, moment of character building or whatever. But here's the thing, it's not. It's not. That is not what Super is going for, okay? We didn't know most of those characters. The characters they're mourning were all one-off characters they threw together for this tournament, with the exception of the Trio de Danger, who had much more interesting and relevant roles in the preliminaries, which, by the way, was a much better tournament than what we've had so far. Seriously, one episode of that was more entertaining than everything we've seen of this. And here's the thing about the Tournament of Power I really want. Anyone who wants to get on my case about, oh, Justiguy, you're just being a hater. I want you guys to realize this. Everything they're doing right now is very typical of shonen series. What they're doing is creating fluff to take up airtime. You see this with so much. You've seen it with earlier Dragon Ball. A great example is Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way. You go to any Yu-Gi-Oh series, and when you see them all talking about what the cards do and da-da-da-da-da, they're doing that to fill up airtime. Yeah, and to sell the cards, but they're also doing it to fill up airtime. And see, like I was saying the other day, most of the episode should not be taken up by crap like them standing on the stands and da-da-da-da-da. And now you've got this episode, alright? So what actually happened in this episode once they got over the Universe 9 thing? There was this weird discussion about how the teams needed to change their plans and all that, and the way it was directed made it look like they were talking about the gods needing to change their plan, which doesn't make sense because the gods are not in the tournament, and unless they're trying to imply that the way the gods are yelling commands at the team is the way a Pokemon trainer commands their Pokemon, the gods are not fighting and shouldn't be, they're trying to, justify the fact that the gods are doing that and that so much screen time is being given to them when they shouldn't be, because we're not here for that. They're giving an in-universe explanation for the fact that they're wasting our times, and it's kind of bullshit in my opinion, and forgive my French, but anyway, setting that aside, we have a scene with Android 17 and 18, and on its own, it's nice, except here are a few problems. Looking at 18 scenes alone, it shows how the other characters are all just kind of being used to fill up time. First, we have 18 fighting someone from the superhero team. Okay, that's fine. That is dandy. That's great. She's basically the only female fighter left, and, that's great. Well, then, when we cut back to her later, she was not fighting. That other fighter was nowhere to be seen. I don't know what happened there. And then, suddenly, when Universe 9 is defeated, she's back with the team. That other fighter is back with her team. I don't know what's going on. And then, she and 17 go off together to do something with their unlimited energy. Okay, except then, absolutely nothing actually comes from that whole unlimited energy scene. And you might be thinking, well, Justiguy, why does that matter? Here is why. You would put a scene like that in to have these two androids go off and use the fact that they've got unlimited energy, which is what they said, for the purpose of taking the other teams in shock off guard, which would in turn then justify the fact that everyone is off guard. These are how scenes build off each other. The problem is that these scenes aren't building off each other. When we cut back, 18 is being taken off guard because that makes sense, and then Krillin has to save her. In other words, the dragged out reaction to Universe 9's demise isn't really adding to what we're actually getting, it's just there to fill up time. And that scene with Android 17 and 18 also isn't really adding to anything. The problem is that the events aren't really flowing into each other. For another example of this, just look at Krillin's ultimate role in this tournament. In this episode, he had to once again go through the same character development he's kind of already been through about 3 or 4 times in Super already in other episodes. And sure, it is justified by the whole Universe 9 getting a defeated thing, but the problem is the way this episode uses it doesn't really make it worth anything. If Krillin had done something particularly heroic, okay, fine, that would be great. But what does Krillin really do in this episode? Okay, he knocks off some people, fine, sure, whatever, but see, the problem is none of these people were relevant, none of these people mattered. They were characters with throwaway designs from a random universe that didn't even have names. No, Krillin didn't really do anything of relevance here. Nothing Krillin did mattered. Hell, he didn't even show off that new transformation of his. Goku and Vegeta used something similar for a barrier, sure, but Krillin, nope, none of that. What's worse, the one technique he used didn't even work. Instead, they used what essentially was a fart joke. That was Krillin's big show in the Tournament of Power, people. That was Krillin's big show in the Tournament of Power. After that, he gets knocked off by Frost. Oh boy. All of the stuff they had building up for Krillin amounted to that. You know, maybe in the context of the episode on its own, you can kind of see what they were trying to do, but with how rushed and disjointed and messy it was presented, I'm sorry, but I just can only think of it as bad. Like, the way I see it, the only way you can praise this is if you take the events that happened, but not actually how they were portrayed. Because on paper, what Krillin did actually is kind of impressive. Here are the events of this episode. Krillin once again tackles his doubts and fears and charges into battle. Hey, that's cool. Krillin saves Android 18 from certain doom. Krillin and Android 18 work together as a couple, and they show off their special couple attack. Even after Krillin's special move fails him, he manages to turn things around and still defeat his opponent. But then, after all of this, Krillin is knocked off the edge by Frost. See, if you look at things like that, sure, it sounds like this might have been a good episode. It might have been a great episode, but it wasn't. It was a shitty episode. I will say, I'm kind of looking forward to Vegeta and Bottomo and Vegeta fighting because, I've said it before, Vegeta and Vegeta's fight way back in the day, that was actually my favorite fight of that tournament. No, not Goku versus Hit, that was cliched and boring. Vegeta and Vegeta, however, took two characters you wouldn't think would be able to provide an interesting fight and somehow did. But right now, I just don't freaking know. I really don't know. As far as the greater plot, it kind of seems like the Angels are bad guys. Maybe Whis is a bad guy. I don't know, because you know his dad is da-da-da. I don't know. I really don't. I'm almost on the edge of not caring anymore, because it's great that some people are digging this story arc, but I can't right now. These past 3 episodes have sucked, and I am just so disappointed with Super because the episodes leading up to this, the episodes building this up, are just hands down the best episodes in Super. And I really have to think that something changed behind the scenes, because the fact is that there is no way Toei could have handled this. A proper tournament with brackets was something they could have done and probably could have done really well. It's like, I don't know, maybe they thought, you know what, we can't make this interesting. We can't justify it. We can't do this well, and so they decided to do this to just be able to rush through it. Because the fact is, there was so much freaking potential. All those Supreme Kais, all those gods of destruction, all the angels, all the fighters, they could have just blown up this cast with so many amazing, interesting fights and characters. The fact is, the preliminary match showed that that was true. And instead, what do we get? A bunch of clearly one-off characters and fights where we have to win with stuff like a fart joke. I mean, come the fuck on. Do not try to tell me that what we have right now, like, I'm still open for it getting better than it is right now, but do not tell me that what we have right now is better than the preliminary matches. Because that was a fucking good tournament match, whatever you want to call it. That was a great fight, in fact. This is not. This sucks. I think it's clear that what they're doing is just blazing through this, trying to make things hectic and crazy until they cut down how many fighters there are, until they can get to the main fights with, with Goku, Jiren, whatever. Maybe we'll get some interesting rematches like Vegeta versus Hit instead of Goku versus Hit. I'm kind of still expecting Hit to just get beaten by someone else to hype them up. Quite honestly, the fact that no one is looking like they're going to be a surprise yet, that just really blows my mind. Like, they're kind of showing off those idol fighters or whatever, but we know that they seem to have some weirdo transformation, so they're probably just going to be gag characters. And so beyond them, it seems like Jiren is just going to be the hit of this tournament, which means in the end, this tournament is going to probably turn out exactly like the Universe 6 one, where we know exactly what's going to happen from the beginning. And that is incredibly disappointing. I'd love to be wrong about this, but I don't know. They had the perfect premise to do something effing amazing. And I kind of think they're just blowing it. Like, I really, truly, honest to God, think they've blown it already. I'm going to keep giving it a chance, because I love the build up to this. I love Dragon Ball, but these 3 episodes have sucked. They have sucked. They have sucked. Do not tell me how good they are. They have sucked. Like, okay, you've had some nice little moments here and there, like the Android 18 and Android 17 one, but again, they've added nothing. They've only been there to fill up time. In other episodes, scenes like this added something to the story. Here, they're just doing nothing with that. They're filler. This is such a mess. I thought Super had finally shown it was better than this, and I just don't know. I really don't know, and I gotta stop now, because I'm really getting annoyed at it. And hey, if you disagree with me, look, I'm just a guy. So anyway, citizens, this has been Just a Guy, and if you want to see more of this, if you want me to just shut up and leave Dragon Ball Super alone, well, I don't know, let me know. Feel free to tell me how you feel, and we can have a discussion about this. Hopefully civilly, although I wasn't too civil about it, so you know what? That's fair if you don't want to be completely civil. Regardless, I think my work here is done, so until next time, farewell.